Hi, I'm Jess, and welcome to Spooky Movie Club. Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining us again for the Spooky Movie Club. This week we watched Fright Night. It was a special week, a special day. Today we're filming on my birthday, which is super exciting, and this film was awesome. An awesome time to watch. The viewing party we had in Discord, everybody was having a good time. It's always fun when the movies are enjoyable. So I'm going to go ahead and read the back of the box, but if you want to skip ahead to the discussion or next week's spooky movie, I'm going to leave timestamps below. Yeah, you liked it or no? Okay. Fright Night. There are some very good reasons to be afraid of the dark. If you love being scared, it'll be the night of your life. Okay, this is long. Seems like a long description. Okay. Meet Jerry Dandridge. He's sweet, sexy, and he likes to sleep in late. You might think he's the perfect neighbor, but before inviting Jerry in for a nightcap, there's just one thing you should know. Jerry prefers to drink warm, red, and straight... But before inviting Jerry in for a nightcap, there's just one thing you should know. Jerry prefers his drinks warm, red, and straight from the jugular. It's Fright Night, a horrific howl starring Chris Sarandon as a seductive vampire and William Ragsdale as the frantic teenager struggling to keep Jerry's deadly fangs out of his neck. Only 17-year-old Charlie Brewster knows Jerry's blood-curdling secret. When Charlie can't get anybody to believe him, he turns to TV horror host Peter Vincent, who used to be the great vampire killer of the movies. Can these mortals save Charlie and his sweet Amy from the wrathful bloodsucker's toothy embrace? That is a word jumble. If you love being scared, Fright Night will give you the nightmare of your life. I love how it's just right. So it's called Fright Night, and you think it's about Charlie, but right in this description, you're like, this is a movie about Jerry. Okay, this film's about the vampire, straight up, holding nothing back, no secrets. But yeah, let's get into my thoughts. All right, Fright Night. Like I said, this was a fun watch. It was a great one to follow up Interview with a Vampire with because that was just terrible. But right off the bat when we watched this film, it gave us the Burbs vibes, like right from the get-go. This was actually made before the Burbs, but I don't know which was written first, if they had any similarities. Pause, hold please. Okay, let's get back to it. I recently just watched The Burbs, so maybe that's why it was fresh in my head. But everything looked like the same street, looked like the same house. It just had that whole kind of vibe, like there's something your neighbor is up to. They're up to no good. Kind of like Rear Window or Disturbia, like kind of like that whole. All of those things were probably inspired by Rear Window, but like your neighbor's doing something and he's up to no good. But the reason why I gave the Burbs vibes, I feel like it might have been filmed on the same street or something, the same lot. Everything looked the same. Even when you go into Jerry's house, he hasn't unpacked yet, similar to the Burbs, the neighbors in there. Don't go in my basement. You know how the Burbs had the boiler room, had his furnace down there. It all kind of reminded me of that. And I really liked the Burbs, so maybe that's why another reason why I really liked this film. I love in the terms of the story how you get right to Jerry is a vampire. I mean, it gives it right on the back of the box. I mean, front of the box, vampire. Back of the box, vampire. And what's this guy's name? Charlie? Is that his name? Charlie. He figures out he's a vampire just like that, right into it. I mean, you got an hour and 49 minutes. There's no like within the first 15 minutes, he knows Jerry is a vampire, and we're getting into it. Even in the scene that was funny when Charlie sees that he's a vampire. The vampire has his blinds open. Also, why? Why does everybody have their blinds open? Like, people, close your blinds. People will snoop. Close your blinds. Charlie goes outside and he sees Jerry eating an apple, and Jerry eats the core. And it was funny because when we were watching the viewing party, our friend Dave, who recommended Fright Night, was like, he ate the core. That's a vampire for show. I also loved how the vampires, in terms of makeup, coming off of Interview with a Vampire, where the makeup was just terrible. It wasn't terrible. I mean, it was terrible. It was terrible. I just compared to all these other vampire films, Interview with the Vampire was just lackluster. Fright Night had like different levels of vampire makeup. Okay, so it's like first you're in your human form, and then you're in your like seductive, just like teeth form and long fingernails. And then when you get like enraged or something, you turn into like a big monster. Like Jerry almost looked wolf-like, big teeth. Um, Amy grows long hair when she's a vampire. She just totally, she looks like a completely different actress. Anyway, when she becomes a vampire and gets into her like third rage form, this is her on the cover. She was terrifying. Okay, she looked her makeup was terrifying. And then Evil Ed, when Evil Ed turns into a vampire and he's like in his super evil form, he also looks rat like. And I thought that was a nice touch. It's like, okay, you're in like your semi-human form, and then you're in your like casual, just fang long nails form, and then when you get super enraged, you're in like this big, monstrous, evil looking thing. I thought that was a nice touch. That was a lot of fun. Another thing that I loved about this film is that it was like an 80s times capsule. 80s, it was an 80, okay. Another thing I loved about this film is that it was an 80s time capsule. Everything, when you think about the 80s, this movie had it. Okay, there's no question. They were dressed exactly how you would be in the 80s, in like terrible, terrible clothes. It was just like full on 80s. The music, the lights, the outfits, the hair. I mean, I don't know if there's even more 80s film than this. Because sometimes when you're watching a film, I'm trying to think of a film. In Ferris Bueller's Day Off, that's an 80s film. And I don't think the clothes are that like outlandish. So you got leather jackets, you have like semi-80s patterns, but this film, whoa, let me tell you, there were scrunchies. Amy's hair was like short, but then she had like a ponytail on the side. Evil Ed had this outfit that was like a red t-shirt and had like nipple clamps on it. It was so bizarre. Everything was so bizarre. But if you're looking for like an 80s movie that just, it was the 80s itself. Like if you just I want to know what the 80s were like, what people dressed like, what their hair looked like. This is the film you have to watch because this is what the 80s was in terms of fashion and hair. So my final thoughts on Fright Night was that it was such a fun film. I mean, coming off of Interview with a Vampire, which was kind of lackluster and not very good, I felt like, this is the first time I've seen it, but I felt like it kind of held up. I mean, the special effects, the makeup was, I thought, good for the time, and it was fun. A fun experience, a fun little adventure, a different kind of take than we've been seeing. And if you have, do you disagree? Yeah, so if you haven't seen Fright Night, if this is one you haven't seen, I definitely recommend watching it. It was a good time. I haven't seen the remake, although I watched the trailer, and it seems like they really wanted to go, like, try to be scary in this remake. So I'm not know if I'm really into that. Yeah, so the remake, I'm not sure if I'd watch that one just because Fright Night to me is kind of supposed to be a little goofy, but a lot of fun. So the original, I definitely recommend giving it a go, and I'm definitely going to rewatch this one. Yeah, so Fright Night is done. It was an awesome time, a great movie to watch with friends. So this next movie we're going to watch is one of my probably favorite vampire film. I've seen it a dozens of times. It is the best, and I had to put it in Vampire Month. I just had to. There was no way we're going to have Vampire Month without this film, and that is The Lost Boys. Now, this is the trilogy. We're only watching the first one, the only one that matters. This is the original. I love this film so much. I remember watching it as a kid. I think my uncle had it on Laserdisc. It's just a fun time, and it also can be spooky. I think it rides the line of like kind of goofy because it's vampires, but there's like some spooky elements to it, which is a ton of fun. So I can't wait to watch this one again. I'm always in the mood to watch The Lost Boys, so I can't wait to watch it again. All right, that wraps it up for this week's Spooky Movie Club for Fright Night. Loved it. Hope you enjoyed our discussion. Let me know what you thought about Fright Night below. We are going to do a viewing party of The Lost Boys on Discord on Wednesday at 6:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Make sure you join the Discord for sure because it's a ton of fun when we all get in there and chat as we're watching. And we're going to do our live discussion on Saturday at 5:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time over on Twitch. We're playing Vampyr. We're working our way through that. That's been a lot of fun. For February's movies, we are doing community choice. So make sure you join the Discord and hop into the February spooky movie recommendation channel. You can recommend up to 3 movies, and you can vote on as many as you want to watch, but only the ones with the rump Jasons will count. And the top 4 with the most emotes will win for that month. So make sure you join the Discord, recommend some films you'd like me to watch, that you would like to watch again for February. All right, I think that about does it. So if you can't make the viewing party or the live discussion on Saturdays, don't worry because I will be back here on Sunday with the review. Bye.